Hello, welcome back to Day 3, Chapter 3 of May Magic by Ron Roy. Chapter 3 is Mom is Ducky. So remember they're at the hypnotist, and we're going to see what happens, see if there's a problem in this story. So right before this, Brian suggested that Mom should get hypnotized. "Don't be silly," Brian's mom said to him. "Why would I let Hippo hypnotize me?" Just then, Hippo walked to the edge of the stage, shaded his eyes so he could see into the audience. "Are there any volunteers?" he asked. Brian jumped to his feet. "Yeah, my mom," he said. Bradley pulled his brother back to his seat. "What are you doing?" he whispered. "You'll see," Brian said. "We're over here, Mr. Hippo." Hippo walked down the stage stairs. He marched to the row where Bradley was sitting with his mother and brother. Nate and Lucy turned around in their seats and stared at Brian. "Are you going to do it, Mrs. Pinto?" Nate asked. Before Bradley's mother could answer, Hippo was standing next to her. He pulled out his hand. "Hello, I'm Hippo. What's your name?" Bradley's mother shook Hippo's hand. "I'm Pamela Pinto," she said. "But I'm not interested." "Pamela Pinto, what a lovely name," said Mr. Hippo. "Won't you join me on the stage? Your handsome twins can come too." "Gee, Bradley, we're handsome," said Brian crowed. "Well, I don't know," said their mother. "Do it, Mom," Brian said. "Go for it, Mrs. Pinto," Nate said. "It'll be fun," Lucy said. Only Bradley remained quiet. He knew that Brian had a plan. Bradley wondered if Hippo could really hypnotize his mom so she'd let Brian raise ducks. "Okay, come on, boys," Mrs. Pinto said. She followed Hippo back to the stage. Bradley and Brian were right behind her. The whole audience clapped and whistled. Hippo sat the twins' mother on the sofa, with Bradley and Brian next to her. "Pamela Pinto, do you chew your nails?" Hippo asked. "Of course not," she said. She held up her hands. "What lovely pink nail polish," Hippo said. "Yes, my son Josh gave it to me for Mother's Day," she said, "and my husband gave me this bracelet." Can you see? She's got that bracelet. "And what did these two young men give you for Mother's Day?" Hippo asked. He pointed his wand at Bradley and Brian. "They bought me tickets to see your show," she said. "Such nice sons you have," Hippo said. "So, boys, what shall we do with your mother?" he asked. Bradley didn't know what to say, but Brian did. "My mom doesn't like ducks," he said. "Can you hypnotize her so she loves them?" Brian's mother glared at him. "I never said I didn't like ducks." "That's an excellent idea," Hippo said. "What do you folks think?" The audience cheered and clapped. "Okay, Mrs. Pinto, please close your eyes." She closed her eyes. "I feel silly," she said. Brian giggled and Bradley poked him in the ribs. Hippo passed his wand over Mrs. Pinto's head. He muttered some strange words. "Mrs. Pinto, please open your eyes," he said after a minute. She opened her eyes. "Mrs. Pinto, do you like animals?" Hippo asked. "Of course I do," she said. "We own a dog and a pony, and I had rabbits when I was a little girl." "Marvelous. Now tell our audience your favorite animal." "Well, I have to think for a moment," Mrs. Pinto said. "Take your time," Hippo said. He gave the audience a big wink. I'd have to say songbirds," Mrs. Pinto said finally. "We have several bird feeders in our yard." "Excellent. Are you fond of you are fond of our flying friends," Hippo said. "Now, Pamela," he leaned forward, "tell us how you feel about ducks." "I don't like them," she said. "Ducks are noisy and messy, and they would destroy my garden." The audience laughed. Bradley laughed. Brian didn't laugh. Hippo didn't laugh either. He scratched his chin. "Hippo will have to try something else." He said, "Mrs. Pinto, will you please come with me?" He walked her over to the red booth. He swept the curtain aside. "Will you step inside, please?" "Huh? I'm interested to see what this is going to be." The twins' mother stepped into the booth. Hippo closed the curtain. He turned to the audience. "I must have absolute silence," he said. The audience went quiet. On the sofa, Bradley listened to his own heartbeat. Hippo closed his eyes and spoke. Pamela Pinto loves the birds. Pamela Pinto hears my words. With super magical hippo luck, make Pamela Pinto love a duck. Then he yanked the gold curtain aside, and Bradley's mother was gone. In her place stood a big white duck. The audience went wild. Bradley thought he would keel over. The duck waddled out of the booth. Even from the sofa, Bradley could see that the duck had pink nail polish on its toenails. Hanging around the duck's neck was my mom's new bracelet. And that's where we're going to leave it for today. I'm sure the mom's fine. But what's going to happen? This is a big problem. There's the mom, right? Or there's the duck. And it even has pink nail polish on it. I don't know if you can tell. Can't wait to see what happens tomorrow. And the next chapter is chapter 4, Too Much Magic.